Many years ago, in the commercial city of Arbar, there lived a beautiful girl named Chioma. Chioma was the only child of her parents, born into a humble family. Her parents, hard-working but struggling, ensured she had everything she needed, but growing up was not easy. She had always been on the bigger side, and while her parents assured her that she was beautiful just the way she was, she didn't get the same reaction outside, especially at school. When Chioma was in her JSS 3, during their inter-house sports, Chioma, who loved to play volleyball, had asked her house captain for a place in their team, but his response had left a scar. "Ah, do you want us to fail? Can't you see your size? You won't be able to keep up. We need players who can keep up." His words stung. "But I am good and strong and I am sure I can play really well." The house captain laughed, this time really loud. "This fat girl doesn't know her place. Please can someone take her to the weightlifting section?" And with those words, two younger girls dragged her out of the court. As if that wasn't enough, a few years later, Chioma was now in SS3, life dealt her another cruel blow. This time even worse. Chioma had a crush on one of the finest boys in her class, Chika. Chika was his neighbor and Chioma always saw him around. Each time Chioma tried to talk to him, he was either too preoccupied with something or with his group of friends. Not only was he handsome, he was also very intelligent. One day, while Chioma sat in the school lobby alone, going through her notes, she noticed that Cheka and his friends were looking at her and whispering something to themselves. One of them laughed out loud. "1 week. Ah, that's impossible." The guys laughed and left. The next morning, when Chioma arrived school, she opened her locker to find a note from Cheka. It was a very charming, sweet note, about how he loved her quiet and charming smile. Chioma couldn't believe that Cheka could have noticed her. She grinned from ear to ear as she read the letter over and over again. Chika walked up to her. "Hi. Chioma, did you see my note?" Chioma stammered, I. Yes, I did." From that moment on, Cheka started giving Chioma so much attention. He'd sit close to her once the teacher was out, and tell her stories about how he's been in love with her, but was scared of how people will see him. He would walk her home holding her by the hand. Cheka was just perfect, charming, funny, and for the first time, Chioma felt seen. They talked every day, and slowly, she started to believe that maybe, just maybe, someone could look past her weight and truly like her for who she was.
Unfortunately, then came the 7th day. Chika had called Chioma into the dining area where they had lunch during lunch breaks. Chioma usually didn't like to sit in the dining area because the seats were a little too small for her, and she would always get teased. The memory of past humiliations echoed in her mind, but that day, Chika had convinced her. "Nobody will laugh at you when you're with me," he assured her with a smile that seemed genuine, or so she thought. His words wrapped around her heart like a fragile thread of hope, pulling her into a space she had avoided for years. She followed him, clutching her books tightly against her chest, her heart pounding not just with fear, but with an unfamiliar, fluttering excitement. When they were done eating, Chika held Chioma's hands, his fingers warm against her skin. He walked her towards the front of the dining area. The chatter around them dimmed, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. He looked into her eyes, those dark pools filled with quiet dreams and unspoken fears, and whispered something in her ear, words sweet enough to melt the walls she'd built around her heart. Then, he asked, "Chioma, do you love me?" Her heart pounded like a drum caught in a storm. Was this real? Was he actually asking her this in front of everyone? Hope swelled in her chest, fragile and bright, like glass on the edge of a table. With a shy but hopeful smile, she nodded. "Yes, I do." The entire hall erupted with laughter. Not the joyful kind, but sharp, cruel, slicing through her like shards of glass. Chika grinned and turned to his friends. "You owe me my money," he said smugly, his voice like a dagger twisting deeper. Chioma stood frozen, her heart shattering into 1,000 invisible pieces. The walls seemed to close in, the laughter growing louder, crueler, echoing off every surface, pounding against her eardrums. Her eyes blurred with tears as she sought a nearby seat to disappear into, to anchor herself amidst the chaos. But just as she was about to sit down, the chair beneath her cracked and broke under her weight with a loud, cruel snap. The laughter grew louder, rolling through the room like thunder. Faces blurred together, mouths wide open in mockery. She could hear someone shout, "She broke the chair." Another voice chimed in, "Maybe she should have sat on the floor." Tears burned her eyes, hot and relentless, as she fled the school, her heart a hollow, aching void. She didn't stop running until she was far from the school grounds, her sobs finally breaking free in the empty space where no one could hear her pain. That night, Chioma couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, her pillow soaked with silent tears. It was a bet, she whispered to the darkness, her voice trembling. How could Chika be so cruel, so heartless, to have played such a wicked game just to humiliate me? The room spun, her vision blurred, and she felt the heaviness in her heart pressing down like a stone. Every cruel laugh, every mocking glance replayed in her mind on an endless loop. She clenched her fists, nails digging into her palms until they stung. That day, she vowed she would never allow herself to be humiliated again. Never. Years later, Chioma transformed. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. She had worked on herself, not to fit anyone's expectations, but to become the best version of herself. Gone was the timid, insecure girl who once felt invisible. In her place stood a woman who knew her worth, who had faced her fears, and turned her scars into symbols of strength. By her mid-20s, Chioma was more than just a name, she was a brand. Crowned Miss Intercontinental Africa, she became a beacon of hope for young girls who were told they weren't enough. She built an empire as a successful entrepreneur, using her voice and platform to inspire others. She graced magazine covers, spoke at international events, and walked runways with grace and power. Yet, beneath the glamour, she carried memories, lessons etched deep into her heart. One day, at one of her high-profile events, Chioma met Chika. He was part of the corporate sponsors attending the event, blending into the crowd of polished suits and eager faces. "Hi, Chika." Chioma greeted warmly, extending her hand with a confident smile. Chika turned, slightly confused. Hi. Do I know you?" Chioma chuckled softly. "It's me, Chioma." His eyes squinted, trying to connect the dots. Then, realization hit him like a wave. His mouth dropped open, hands cupping his face in disbelief. "Oh my God. Are you that Chioma?" he gasped. "The beauty queen everyone talks about? Wow. I can't believe you know me." Chioma's smile didn't waver. "Why wouldn't I know you? We went to the same secondary school together." Chika's face flushed with embarrassment. Memories rushed back, of laughter at someone else's expense, of careless words thrown like daggers. "Wow. Chioma," he stammered, his voice softer now. "I know I hurt you back then. I was young, stupid, and I've always regretted what I did. Please, forgive me." Chioma looked at him, her gaze cool and unwavering. "Chika, you humiliated me in front of the whole school. You turned my pain into your entertainment. I don't know if I can ever forgive you for that." His shoulders slumped slightly. "Please, I was young and naive. Let's start over." Chioma shrugged casually. "No problem." After that day, Chika tried everything to get close to her. He called regularly, sent her gifts, and flooded his social media with pictures of them together, boasting about his friendship with a celebrity. He even told his friends that Chioma had once professed her love for him in school. Then came his big request. "Chioma, please," Chika pleaded over the phone. "My company is hosting a major event. Your presence would mean the world. My boss would be thrilled to meet you. It would really help me out." Chioma paused for a moment, then agreed. She saw through it all, the lies, the clout chasing. But she had the perfect plan. The night of the event arrived. Chioma stepped out of a sleek luxury car, dressed in a breathtaking gown that shimmered under the flashing cameras. Heads turned, voices whispered her name, and the crowd parted like the Red Sea as she walked in, graceful and untouchable. Chika pushed through the crowd, excitement written all over his face. "Chioma. It's me, Chika." She turned slowly, her expression blank. Then she smiled, cold and sharp. "Oh. Do I know you?" she asked, her tone dripping with indifference. Chika froze, his grin faltering. "Chioma, it's me. You look amazing tonight. You know, I always knew you'd be something special. We should talk." She laughed softly, cutting him off. "Talk? Talk about what? Please. I have standards. I don't talk to nobodies." The crowd hushed. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Phones came out, recording every second. Chika's face turned crimson. He forced a laugh, trying to play it off, but Chioma was already gone, walking towards A-list guests who had been waiting to speak with her, completely dismissing him. But that wasn't the end. Chika couldn't get Chioma out of his mind. At first, it was wounded pride. But soon, it became something deeper. Regret gnawed at him. For the first time, he truly reflected on his past. Months later, Chioma attended a leadership retreat in Dubai. Due to an unexpected flight delay and overbooked hotels, she was forced to share a temporary hotel suite organized by the event coordinators. When she walked in, suitcase in hand, she froze. Chika was there. "You've got to be kidding me," Chioma muttered. Chika gave a sheepish smile. "Well, this is ironic." Awkward silences filled the room. Hours passed before Chika finally spoke. "I never really understood what I did to you until recently. After that event, it hit me how terrible bullying is." Chioma chuckled softly. "Funny how life humbles us." They both laughed, not out of humor, but from a place of healing. For the first time, Chioma saw not the boy who humiliated her, but a man confronting his own failures. During the retreat, they attended sessions together, shared conversations that grew naturally, and even exchanged numbers. There was no romance, just an unexpected, authentic friendship blossoming from the ashes of the past. Sometimes, the people who hurt us the most become mirrors, reflecting how far we've come. And sometimes, forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about freeing ourselves. Chioma had already won long before she realized it. The end. Thanks for watching this story till the end. Chioma's story reminds us that life setbacks don't define us, our response to them does. She faced rejection, humiliation, and heartbreak, but instead of letting them break her, she used them as fuel to rise above. This story teaches us some powerful moral lessons. Self-worth is not determined by others' opinions. No matter what people say, believe in yourself and keep pushing forward. Success is the best response to humiliation. Instead of seeking revenge through hate, become so successful that those who doubted you have no choice but to respect you. True change comes from within. Chika learned that apologies mean nothing without action. He had to prove himself through growth, just like anyone who truly wants to make amends. If you loved this story and want more inspiring, emotional, and entertaining content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to My African Storyteller. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to bring you more amazing stories. Until next time, remember, you are enough, you are valuable, and your story isn't over yet. See you in the next video.